Okay, this is once again one philosopher signing in and for another edition of Z Blog. Now, today I want to go to a topic which I've been wanting to discuss for so long, but unfortunately I haven't been able to it because I haven't done my complete research and I haven't put all my thoughts together. Fortunately, I have this time, and that is the topic of Darwinian Evolution versus Intelligent Design. This is a very, very broad subject, but then there has been volumes written on both sides, and it would be unfair to me that I cover everything, every single thing. So I just decided to pick like the key elements of, or the ones that stand out the most, the points that stand out the most of each of them. Now I'm gonna first address Darwinian evolution, and I'm gonna start by saying a good argument can argue both sides. First, it gives negative evidence, or it points out the flaws of the opposing theory. Second, it gives positive evidence, or gives reasons why his or her theory is the better alternative. Now, I'm gonna try to state what Darwinian evolution is and the three main points. I'm gonna state three main points why it is flawed. Now, Darwinian evolution is the theory that tries to explain how vast variety of species, including Homo sapiens or the modern man, came about through natural processes. It connects all species to a common ancestor. How did one organism evolve into many species, you might ask? Through an unguided and gradual process called natural selection. A good example of natural selection would be the origin of Doomsday. Now, if you don't know who Doomsday is, he's a very dominant and enemy of Superman. Doomsday was hatched in a laboratory with the purpose of making the ultimate species, which would survive in any environment. The scientists took a small defenseless creature and put it into a hostile environment where it died. The scientists took DNA sample from it, and then they revived it again. They put the creature back into the hostile environment. However, the creature now was immune to the environment and survived the second time around. The scientists repeated the process many times until the creature was virtually indestructible. Natural selection is a creature adapting to its environment in order to survive. Mutations began to occur, giving the creature new traits. It chooses the most suitable traits the creature needs for survival and discards the unsuitable ones. As creatures begin to migrate to different environments, they take on different traits. As time went on, the creatures became so radically different that new species were born. I'm going to point out the 3 reasons why Darwinian evolution is flawed. Number 1, it does not answer the question of the origin of life. Origin of Species, which was written by Darwin, only explains what happens after the fact life originates, but it explains how life began in the first place. Several attempts have been made to replicate the origin of life through natural processes. The most notable one is the Miller-Urey experiment, in which several chemicals thought to be present in the primordial soup were gathered together and were charged with electric shocks. In his book Icons of Evolution, Jonathan Wells explained that the chemistry in the experiment are not the ones in the primordial soup. Scientists have revised their idea since the experiment that was done, so it does not hold true to the latest evidence. Most experiments end in failure to produce anything close to a single cell. The challenge of Darwinian evolution is how do you animate an how did you make an inanimate object animated by natural processes alone? The closest answer that has been given is that a bolt of lightning struck the primordial soup, and that animated the first cell. This is pure speculation and has no credible evidence. That's the first flaw. The second flaw is the fossil record does not provide us with evidence of gradual changes in organisms. What we do know from the fossil record is that during the Cambrian period there was a phenomenon which archaeologists refer to as the Cambrian explosion. During the Cambrian period there seemed to appear all of a sudden creatures that have complex structures like the crustaceans. These creatures did not exist before in any period. This is a great challenge for Darwinian evolution because Darwin insisted that organisms evolved gradually by a step-by-step process of trial and error. This process took thousands of years, and many creatures became extinct in the process. To have a single-cell organism evolve to a complex creature in just a few hundred years flies in the face of Darwinian evolution. Now, the third flaw in Darwinian evolution is genetic mutations do not enhance or better living creatures. In fact, there is evidence that genetic mutation does the opposite. In his book, The Edge of Evolution, Michael Behe states that genetic mutations are the result of substitutions or deletions in the genetic code. A good example of a genetic mutation is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia happens when a child receives a copy of the sickle cell gene from both parents. The sickle cell gene is the result of the substitution of one of the letters in the hemoglobin proteins in the one of the letters in the code of the hemoglobin. The protein molecule in red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to the body's tissue and returns carbon dioxides from the tissues to the lungs. This is just one disease that result of genetic mutations. There are others which I cannot mention for the time constraints. However, I believe this is enough to show that most genetic mutation actually worsen the condition of a creature. No, we have seen that genetic mutations create abnormalities. So, and we see genetic mutations when we see disabled children, though something happened in their genetic code and caused they come to be have a Down syndrome or of the sort. So they actually devolve a creature, not help. So there's many challenges to Darwinian evolution. And so next time I'm going to show the alternative, which is intelligent design. What is it, and what are the three key support for intelligent design. But hopefully this was an informative video.